Hi, I'm Professor Tim Scales. I'm also the director of the Center for Entrepreneurship and the Center for Economic Education here at Indiana University East. We're celebrating 18 years of In Your Business, as well as 35 years of Whitewater Community Television, also known as WCTV. As we celebrate these milestones, we'd like to go back and reflect on some of our earliest episodes of In Your Business. I hope you enjoy those early days. Hi, I'm Tim Scales, the director of the Entrepreneurship Center and the Sam Walton Fellow for Indiana University East. Today we're working on another episode of In Your Business, a program that's put together by SIFE, Students in Free Enterprise. What we like to do is we like to talk to an entrepreneur and we like to discover what they go through. Basically what we find out is there's a lot of risk involved with entrepreneurship as well as a lot of reward. We find that during the adventure we have to look at things like the idea, the plan, and the execution. We always start off with public opinion, then we discover the entrepreneur, learn from them, and then we go out in the field and actually see what they're doing. So please join SIFE as we discover entrepreneurship.
What would you like to see dipped in chocolate?
I don't know. I'm a big fan of strawberries and bananas dipped in chocolate. Great fair food.
In chocolate would be strawberries, just because strawberries and chocolate are really good, and I love strawberries, so that would be my favorite thing.
My wife dipped in chocolate.
Welcome to another episode of In Your Business. Today joining us is Kim Mitchell. Kim is an entrepreneur and owns a candy store. Welcome, Kim.
Thank you.
Well, we're excited to have you on. Each week we try to focus on a different entrepreneur. And today to look at the candy industry is very exciting for me. I love chocolate, as you well know. And
yes.
So, let's learn a little bit about your business and what it does. So would you please tell us a little overview?
We're Olympian Candies, and we're located downtown Richmond at 625 East Main, and everything that we do in the candy store is homemade. We make it from scratch. We hand dip all of our chocolates on a marble table, and it makes it very unique by doing that.
So everything is handmade?
Yes.
So nothing's brought in?
Nope. We do have, I have to admit, our sugar-free hard candy, I don't have time to make it, and I actually do purchase it and bring it in. But as far as all the chocolates, we hand dip them right there in the store.
Wow. You have quite a variety of things, too.
Yes, we do. We have 9 different flavors of creams. We have nougats. We have chocolate-covered caramels. We have toffee, which is a very popular one. We have turtles. We have chocolate-covered blueberries, chocolate-covered cherries, which are dried cherries, and then at Christmas and Valentine's Day we have the cherry cordials, and at Christmas time we do the bourbon cherries, and those seem to be quite popular, and they're by order only. We have a wide variety of nuts that are dipped. We have cashew clusters, pecan, almond. We have barks that we usually always have during the holidays, but during the summer times they're not as popular, and we do make our own caramel and hand wrap them.
It's exciting to hear you talk about this. The reason is you're not reading the script. That tells me that you truly do it yourself. You come up with it, and so you bring new ideas to the shop.
Yes, we do. Anybody that has ideas, they're more than welcome to give them to me. We've tried different things to see if they work, and we tried dipping marshmallows, and that has actually taken off pretty good. And I was really surprised because I like my marshmallows toasted,
Okay.
you know, and over a campfire, and so dipping them in chocolate was something a little different. But I did it actually for students that were coming in from an MIMH. They have a little bit of difficulties, and I wanted to show them something that they could actually take home with them, and we do give some tours at the store, and I thought, marshmallows would be something pretty easy. Well, when they came in, I started dipping them, and I dipped some of them on their side, some of them standing up, so I let the kids decide which way they actually liked it better, and they actually liked them better standing up. So, it was kind of funny because the kids that saw me dip the ones laying down versus the ones that saw me with them standing up, they liked the preference of which one I dipped at the time, but they liked them, and we always give them treat bags to take home with them of something that we actually made while they were there, and that way they have a uniqueness, and I went to that candy store, and it's really kind of neat, the look on their faces and that of seeing somebody put their hand in chocolate and temper it and all that stuff. So
see, that's one of the things I really enjoy about entrepreneurship, because if you go into the market and you just start picking up things off of a shelf, there's no uniqueness there.
Correct.
But to come to your store and say, you thought of doing this, and your willingness to try it, I mean, I think that is so enjoyable. You can have so much fun with that.
Well, we started something new here at Valentine's. We got a big block of Rice Krispie treats in, and everybody likes Rice Krispie treats, and I said, I think it'd be really neat if we could cut those into hearts. So we took cookie cutters and cut some big hearts, and somebody made the comment, oh, it's not any good because it's got too much chocolate on it. And I thought, well, that's not hard to take care of. So when I dip them, I really shake off the extra chocolate to make sure there's not too much chocolate on them, because sometimes you can overpower something with too much chocolate.
Okay.
And so I really shook off the chocolate, and then we sprinkled little hearts on them. And they really went quick in the store. So yesterday we spent all day making more hearts and dipping them, and then we got into, we need to do some experiments because Easter's just around the corner. And so we started cutting up eggs, and a girl that I have working for me part-time, she says, we could get that royal icing out, and she says, I'll decorate them. And I said, that would really add something to them instead of, just putting sprinkles on them. And I'm hoping to see how they turn out, because I just got them dipped, and she's coming in later on this week to play around and see what different things she can put on them. So I'm like, I like different people's ideas. Mm-hmm. And I wouldn't have thought of that. I would have thought, just sprinkle some sprinkles on them and, leave it at that. But I really thought her idea of, decorating them with royal icing would really add some uniqueness. And then, parents can't complain that they're just giving them all chocolate. Now they've got some Rice Krispies in there that's a little bit of a filler, even though they've got, your marshmallow and your butter and all that in there. So.
Wow.
But it was something we tried, and it really was fun. I mean, I like to dip. I loved playing chocolate, and I tell people, I said, well, as a little girl, I always made mud pies, and I had the best mud pies in town, Well, I was a farm girl, actually, and I loved playing in mud. And so when the kids come in for, chairs and that, they're looking at me going, and I said, well, do you like to play in mud? And they're looking at me going, no. And I'm like, oh, but once you get in there and you just start playing, then you can get creative and you can make your own things. And anyway, so I dip the chocolate, and there's all different kinds of things you can do with it. It's just a lot of fun, so.
Wow, well, tell me, you've already started telling us a little bit that you like to play in the mud when you were just a little girl, but
yes,
how did you get started as an entrepreneur?
Well, I actually wanted to be an at-home mom, and I started at home when my oldest son, who's now 25, he was a year old when I started playing around, and my aunt had said, you need to play with some chocolate mold. She says, I sell them to some friends down here, and she said, they just really go good. And we're like, what are you talking about? So we went down there. It was in the winter, and she took us to all these different shops in Louisville. And Mom and I started thinking, this would be kind of neat if we did a little bit of this and, made just a little bit of money selling them to relatives and friends. And so I just started playing around at home with it, and I cannot decorate a cake for anything. My mom decorates cakes and does a beautiful job, but I just can't do it. But you give me a mold and some paint brushes and toothpicks and that, and I can put little eyes and nose and all that kind of stuff on molds. And I had several friends that liked to get that kind of stuff at Easter and Valentine's and Christmas. And actually, you know, it was just enough to help us make ends meet so I could be at home with my kids all the time, and just strictly sold it to friends. Well, then I had somebody ask me, they said, oh, there's a candy store for sale. And I'm like, oh, yeah, right. And I'm like, I could never afford something like that. Well, my mom's like, you know, that would be kind of fun, because she has experience in cakes. And so we jumped in and ended up buying the Olympian Candy store off of the Shigeris family.
Okay.
And it's taken off from there. And you just don't realize how much, what I want to say, how much hard work goes into owning your own business and doing that. Because it's not, you know, I can't just sit and just dip chocolate all day, which I'd love to do. There's also books that you have to keep. You have to keep inventory up front. And so there's a lot of different areas that you really have to struggle at. And actually, my mom retired a year ago. And so it's all on me now. And so it's been kind of interesting because, you know, trying to hold down doing the books and doing everything else. There's a lot of late hours that are put into the shop to keep everything so it's all homemade.
Well, you know, one thing that's unique about you as an entrepreneur is how you got started, because you said your son was 1 year old, and you wanted to stay home and dedicate your time with him, and so you became an entrepreneur. You bought molds, you started making candies.
Yes, I did.
And today is taking you into the storefront where you're selling candies. I'm curious though, because you said your son is 25.
Yes.
Do you see your son becoming an entrepreneur anytime in the future?
No, I really don't. He has never had any interest in the chocolate at all. He's a chemical engineer and has a family, and they live in Kentucky, and he loves to give my candy to everybody. But as far as him getting into the chocolate, I don't think you'll ever see him do that, because he is really, he's a genius when it comes to chemicals. I mean, he knows everything, and he'll sit there and tell you what the chemical ingredients of this is and why this works that way, and I don't see him. I would come closer to seeing my middle son actually come into the business if he chose to do that.
Do you think that you inspired the son though, and is that why he is so good at that?
In the engineering?
Yes.
Yes, I did, because my son's very unique. We found out he had a hearing loss when he was 5 in kindergarten, and we had no idea. And I told him, I said, you have to work harder than anybody else in order to, you know, keep ahead of everybody else. And so I did a lot of reading with him because his speech was not developed at all due to the fact he was saying things the way he heard them. And once he got the hearing aids and went through speech therapy, then he started picking up, and we did lots of reading, and he really does memorization and that. And so when I'd work on candy, he'd be reading to me, and we did a lot of things together where you'd incorporate, you know, the kids doing things as well. And I loved to bake in that, and I babysat on the side, you know, when I wasn't doing candy, and the kids all line up chairs across the kitchen, and they would one at a time get to cut so many cookies out, and then they'd get to take them home, and they just thought that was neat. And I always felt like, you know, you needed to pull kids into your working area, and I see him and his family life doing the same thing, and I think that's just really neat. So yeah, I contributed to that some, because
nice.
You know, you have to push yourself, because there's not anybody out there that's going to do it for you.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's interesting how entrepreneurship can affect so many people in so many different ways. I mean, sure, we bring our product to the market, you're selling it, your candies are being shipped all over the world.
Yes.
Where have you shipped?
We have actually had it go to China, Japan. Oh gosh, there's lots of people come in. I'm going on a trip overseas and I want to take your candy. It has been to Iraq. I'm not exactly sure what he is. I raised him since he was a baby, and he ended up living with us for 3.5 years. And Joe's in the Army, and so he was in Iraq, and we shipped candy over to him because he felt like he was dying for caramels, so we had to ship him candy, and it went all the way over there. He said some of it didn't turn out real good, but that was okay. And then we've shipped to Korea because he's stationed in Korea right now. But yeah, my candies went several different places, and I'm not even sure where all. I mean, it's all over the United States. I do know that because we ship to California, to Maine, anywhere that businesses want us to ship to.
Well, I think it's evident that staying home and starting entrepreneurship when your son was one has had a huge effect on him and probably benefited him in ways that you don't even
That's
realize.
probably true.
You'll recognize that more and more, I'm sure, as he matures. But how do you feel? When you started at home with molds doing this, did you ever dream of having a storefront and having a business that was shipping candy all over the world?
No, I really didn't. I really didn't because I thought, I'd always be at home, but I found as my oldest son moved out of the house, it was like, oh my gosh, a big part of me moved out of the house. And, I was always babysit, so my interaction was always with small kids. And when I sold candy, then I actually was with friends that were my age. And it was like, I really kind of like meeting the public. And so it really helped me, to get out there and, purchase a business, because I found out there's a whole new world out there that is really a lot of neat people. You find recipes, they're willing to share recipes with you. And one thing we try to do is we have everything that you can make your own candy. And to me, I had somebody show me. And, I don't have a problem with people, making candy for their families and friends and stuff. It's like, yeah, come on in, I'll show you how to do it. And I learn a lot from other people, and it's been really interesting.
Well, good. At the Entrepreneurship Center, I enjoy working with entrepreneurs because they share this passion that you have. And all these ideas, they just grow and they develop. And just in our conversation today, I have some ideas for you at the store.
Good.
And I'm looking forward to sharing those with you. And so we'll see if that helps.
Well, I think that would be wonderful, because I just really enjoy anybody that's got any input, and I will take ideas and think them through and work with them and see what I can come up with.
Well, good. Well, tell us one of the toughest hurdles you had as you became an entrepreneur.
Balancing everything. Family. My youngest son looks at me and goes, Mom, you're never home at Christmas. And I'm not, because I'm at the candy store. I've stayed overnight there a few times. I have my sleeping bag there because when you've got orders to go out, I'm very, wanting to make sure. And that's probably been the hardest thing, is balancing everything. I have a business I'm trying to get really going, and so I spend a lot of hours at work, and it makes it really hard to have family and do both of them at the same time. But I made it to all but 2 of his ball games, so I thought that was pretty good.
I think that's excellent.
So anyway, but I'd say that's the toughest challenge.
So when you do miss one, you just make it up with chocolate.
Yeah, I try.
All right. Well, in every episode, what we try to do is we like to send Johan out in the field to actually meet the business. And I know that Johan really enjoys chocolate and candies, and maybe he'll have some ideas for you as well.
That
So
sounds great.
let's send Johan out.
All right, that sounds like a good idea.
Well, there certainly is a sweet tooth in all of us, and I definitely know there's one in me. Chocolates has always been a great market for people to exploit, and that's exactly what Olympian Candy here has done. So let's go in and check out what they're all about. Tell me what you're doing here.
I'm tempering chocolate to get ready to start dipping more toffee.
Okay.
We made the toffee yesterday morning.
How long does it take to make the toffee?
To make the toffee, it takes 45 minutes from the time we start the batch until the time that it's poured onto the marble table
Right.
and scored. Then we let it cool and start dipping, usually late in the afternoon or the next day. When you're using pure chocolate, you have to temper it. And to temper chocolate, you have it melted at a higher temperature, and then you bring it down to a cooler temperature of your body temperature. And that's what I'm doing now. So it looks like I'm playing in chocolate, which
It looks like
I'm really
having
not.
fun.
I'm working. But I do enjoy doing the chocolate in that. But you have to temper pure chocolate in order to get the shininess to
Okay.
come out right.
So how often do you make this particular chocolate?
Well, every time I run out, I make it. And we've been out, and so we've had several customers a little upset with us that we don't have our toffee.
Okay.
And it just depends on what we're doing. Usually in the summertime and the start of the fall, we're really busy with making caramels because everything we do here is hand dipped,
Right.
hand wrapped, homemade, and it does take just a little bit longer. And so we're trying to get on to our next step, and we're trying to get prepared for Christmas or start into the preparation of Christmas. And that's why we did 2 batches of toffee yesterday and dipped half of it yesterday in dark chocolate, and today is the milk chocolate day. So
what is Olympian Candy known for? Like, what is the most hottest selling item here?
hottest selling item? That is a tough question. I get asked that a lot, and I don't know. It depends on the people that come in, because we sell a lot of creams, because all of our creams are made right here. But then we also sell a lot of toffee and turtles. Our turtles are called Diddles, because Turtles is a name brand, and so we call them Diddles, and we sell a lot of those as well with the toffee. But then we also sell a lot of assorted boxes. It's not, I wouldn't say there was necessarily one that stood out over the other, because it depends on the person that's coming in that, you know, is really what they like.
That's right.
At Christmas time, we have a customer that will only buy the toffee, turtles, and caramels, and that's all his box consists of, which is what really nice, because we do custom imprinting and then the custom boxing. And like I said, we do have the customers that only want the toffee, the turtles, and caramels, and so we will make up special boxes for them.
Okay. And when do you usually start taking orders for Christmas?
We've already started taking orders, and I already have 2 started. It usually depends on the customer. We have some of those that like to wait till the last minute, and then we have some of those that want to make sure they get their order in plenty of time so that they get the delivery date they want. And we have letters that are going out this next week to our regular customers, and that way we'll be started into the Christmas process, because the ones that want their custom boxes, it does take a little bit of time to print them, and we do all the printing here in the store. And we have to get prepared and make, and I like to keep everything really fresh. We do have 2 FFA groups that are going to be selling caramel corn and caramels this year. One of the groups is going to be selling our peanut brittle in conjunction with the other, and so we've picked up a new school there, which is kind of exciting, because we do a lot to help out the FFA.
So you're involved in a lot of social activities
Yes, we
as
are.
well.
Yes.
That's really great.
Yes, I have 3 boys that all well, one's not graduated, but they've all been in FFA, and we also sell our caramels out at the state fair for the FFA to help them raise money. So we're also, like I said, broadening out. And last year we had 1 FFA group, which is my son's FFA group, selling just caramel corn, and this year they're selling caramels and then we picked up another school. So we're kind of excited about that, because anything to help youth is really important.
That's really cool.
So.
Awesome. So tell me, what's all this over here? Looks fascinating.
When our customers come in, usually the first thing they see are cases filled with our homemade hand-dipped chocolates.
Right.
This entire case is milk chocolate, which is the most popular.
Right.
But becoming more popular here is the dark chocolates and the white chocolates.
Okay.
We also have a large assortment of sugar-free chocolates.
Okay.
And we do a lot of specialty candies.
Are you doing anything for Halloween?
Yes, we have lots of good things for Halloween. We have these wonderful chocolate-dipped marshmallows, and we have Oreo cookies are one of our most popular items. And then we have novelties, which is what these are called. And they're decorative type candies that we mold here in the store.
That's awesome.
A lot of kids love those.
That's awesome. So have they been selling good?
They've been doing really well.
Yeah?
And we have some in the hospitals. They sell them in gift shops. And then near Halloween, we'll have a lot of people come pick out some items for their kids.
That is great. No, this was our first.
Just see how many this was, and then what do you weigh it or something? Is that how? Oh, yeah. Have you ever eaten that? Well, my brother just went down and loved the strawberry last week. And I said, I didn't want to watch. The best place to take money for. I mean, you go to Applebee's or any of those places, but anywhere. And we just see the individual
Definitely. And I love it. I mean, each item is like.
So when you ever do it,
It would be fun to store.
that's neat. We were there at the wine tasting a couple weeks ago. A lot of the small businesses really support each other. You know, in Richmond, we all try to really support each other.
Yeah.
Especially the people on Main Street and, you know, the individually owned businesses.
Vanilla.
Really try to stay close knit.
That's awesome. That's one thing great about the small.
Another strawberry and another buttercream.
I was in Washington for months.
Well, this has been a great experience. I mean, the people inside are absolutely awesome. They've got a great little setup of chocolates for every season, Halloween and Christmas coming up as well. Looks like they're going to be doing some pretty good business. Back to you, Tim.
This concludes another episode of In Your Business. Today we met with Kim Mitchell, the owner of Olympian Candy, and Kim has demonstrated an excellent opportunity because what she has recognized is she was able to stay home, work with her son from the time he was 1 year. Today he's 25 and she's still using her entrepreneurship skills. She's taking it from a home business to a storefront, and she's shipping candies all over the world. She tells us the best thing about it, or the most difficult thing about it, was to learn to balance. But she's done a great job of that. Yes, she has spent overnights at the store, just making sure her product gets out. And that's what entrepreneurs do. They dedicate, but they also have a passion. And today you can see that passion in Kim and everything she does. So if there's anything we can do to help you at the Entrepreneurship Center, please let us know.